December football, undefeated in December. Let's make it a December to remember. And welcome to 9 to Noon. And I'm Paul Allen. The master mixer of the Monday montage is the producer of 9 to Noon, Mr. Eric Nordquist. An impeccable montage to begin festivities on this chilly Monday in the Twin Cities. But first, FIRA, Fairness and Recognition Act. Covenant collapse for PJ and the gang winning the axe. It's back on Friday, but that's a prideful moment for those in that covenant, and 9 to Noon respects the feat. FIRA, Fairness and Recognition Act, and covenant collapse for the Minnesota Wild. Hey, went on the grind to get by Bruno and Darby, and now are tied with the peg for the most points in the National Hockey League. Damn! The common thread here, Dallas beat the Jets yesterday, and even though we never beat the Jets or the Stars, we'll just go ahead and covenant clap that away right now. There goes the reality of it all. Tied for the best and most points in the National Hockey League. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, this is 10-2 radio, and yours truly absolutely loved a point the producer, the con, Nordo made on Vikings fan line yesterday when I was driving home regarding Brian Flores' defense and the reality patience is needed during games, knowing he's saving tricks that are going to be deadly. Now, to wit, Kyler Murray has been praised for staying in control and not throwing punts. He threw one for Byron Murphy Jr.'s fifth interception, and it was an arsenal of Flores folly that caused Kyler to go pear-shaped. All right? Kyler Murray having probably the best overall season of his career. It's a control thing. It's not throwing away games with those diseased punt passes. Courtesy of Spearfish Sammy, consider Kyler in quarters 1 to 3 and quarter number 4, when Flores, with patience, holds on to that proverbial ace up the sleeve and then unfurls it late. Kyler Murray in the first 3 quarters yesterday, 25 of 33. In the fourth quarter, 6 of 12. That's a 50%er. That ain't going to do it. The yards through the first 3 quarters, 209, 51 in the fourth. Touchdowns to interceptions for Kyler, the creator. Quarters 1 to 3, 1 touchdown, 0 pick. Quarter 4, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, including a game winner to Shaq Griffin. And his passer rating in quarters 1 to 3, 101.7. And in the fourth quarter, it was 21.9. When I heard you and RJ talking about that patience point, it triggered me on that because I went back and watched some things that Flores did late in the game when Kyler became discombobulated. I mean, he's been praised for staying in control and not throwing those punts. But, I mean, the whole thing, we're down 19-6 and came storming at a young, talented team with a high-end coaching staff and nip them at the wire. Now, some drive-bys coming up include, but are not limited to, Kevin O'Connell, Jordan Addison, and Andrew Van Ginkel. Didn't get to Parker Romo, but wanted to share with him how wonderful he was kicking while we wait for the Alabama assassin. It's covenant collapse worthy. Yeah. I know people don't pay attention to the kicker until they mess up, but he hit the game winner on the extra point yesterday.
And he's been good enough where Rubes and fans alike are thinking, is there any way we could keep both?
Now, you had to have the OT walk-off at Chicago, and you had to have the made extra point yesterday. Big-time pressure, road and home, grass and turf, big-time pressure kicks, and Parker Romo came through. So that's going to be it for Parker Romo, I'd imagine.
Thank you, Parker.
Alabama assassin on the horizon for the Chains game. And without him, that OT walk-off and the extra point yesterday, they're incredibly important. Drive-bys. Here's TJ Hawkinson after the game, and your hyperactive announcer traipsing around the locker room looking for drive-by chat. So I'm like, 87. That was a meat grinder. What'd you think of the whole thing?
It was a blast. Yeah, never a doubt. Everybody in this locker room even when we were down a little bit, never had any flinch, never had anything. We just knew next play and go make a play. So it was fun.
How different is it? I mean, it's different playing at home, okay? And we're certainly not going to knock home fans at all or anything, but like when you're on the road 3 in a row, you come out of that tunnel and everybody dislikes you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody's at you. They're cussing at you. They're rooting against you. And it kind of naturally gives motivation. At home, when things are a little slow to start, how do you push through that when it's quiet?
I think we just look internal. I mean, we're looking at everybody on the sideline, looking to the guy to your left and to the guy to your right. So, and just kind of feeding off of each other. I think that's kind of the biggest thing, I mean, obviously playing at home, playing in the stadium is incredible. But if it is slow, we got to be in ourselves and have that sideline going, and not really worry about everything else.
Last one, TJ. Thank you. 114 last week, 109 in the second half in overtime. Off the injuries, do you feel like you completely have your legs, have your wind completely ready to go?
Yeah, I feel great. I think, I'm ready to, hammer out the rest of the season. And I think everybody else in here is too, I mean, just looking around and talking to the guys, I think, we're ready for the long haul and, we want to keep playing games.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
TJ Hawkinson, let's roll over here to his tight end mate, Johnny Munt. What's going on, Johnny Munt? How you doing, man? 3 touchdowns in your career, 2 against these guys. You love these colors, don't you?
Oh, yeah, really do. It's awesome. Anytime I can get in the paint like that, it's pretty awesome.
What was the key to your score today? The first touchdown, the first of 2 the Vikings scored, but needed it like they needed to breathe.
Yeah, that's Josh Oliver's favorite play. And, I got to take the reins on that one. Not exactly how he drew it up as far as how I got across the field, but, yeah, worked nonetheless.
The Arizona Cardinals and the styles of defense that you've seen of late, like Chicago's rushing forward, jumping guys all around right before the ball snapped. I mean, you guys have seen so much this year. They were scrappy today, weren't they?
Yeah, definitely scrappy, and just appreciate our coaches preparing us for all these exotic looks that they presented, and I feel like we handled the movement and just what they were bringing fairly well and enough to get the win today.
Congratulations on the victory and the touchdown.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Appreciate you. That's Johnny Munt, who scored the first of 2 touchdowns today for the Minnesota Vikings, and that paved the way for them to beat the Arizona Cardinals 23-22 and improve to 10-2, winning 5 consecutive games for the second time this season, and there were a lot of helping hands that went into this. Let's roll up over here and see if we can find another. All right, here we go. Aaron, hi, congratulations.
No, thank you. Appreciate that.
We got the showtime at home, and what a strange day for you today. Those 2 fumbles early, which is uncharacteristic. You got the wheel route. I mean, got yourself open, and but like I said in the call, Aaron saved his best for last. Like Kevin O'Connell says so much, be your best when your best is required. Is that a fair way to describe your day today?
I think it's a very, very fair way to describe it. It was a roller coaster of a day. I'm thankful for all these guys in this locker room, the training staff, the coaches. They all, when it wasn't my day at the beginning, they kept my head up, they lifted me up, and they kept their confidence in me. They believed in me. KO told me after that wheel route, he was like, hey, we're coming right back to you. And, that means a lot as a player, especially when you're having an off day. Things aren't going your way. Normally the things that's happening for you, the work isn't. They have that confidence in you. They stick with you. Hey, we're coming right back to you. We know you're going to make a play. That speaks volumes, and I think that helps you be your best when your best is required.
Well, I mean, you're high end, and everybody who's followed you all your career knows that. But also, for whatever the reason, personally, professionally, their defense, whatever, human nature gets to win sometimes too. And it was just a little slow to go, really, for everybody today. But when you were standing on the sideline, as long as you were, seeing 27 and 32 come out there, you say people motivated you and kept you up. Like what do they do? Like, how do they do that?
They're just sticking my, hey, we're coming back to you. At some point, we're going to need you. Don't let this affect you. They say good play, bad play, next play. Forget about his short memory. Everybody just coming in, even from practice squad to guys playing in the game. Everybody is. I'm just so really, really thankful to be here. Just the people around, they instill confidence in me. It almost makes me tear up because that kind of support isn't every day. You can't find that kind of support anywhere. So to have that and have people who believe in me even when stuff isn't going right, it speaks volumes. And that's why I said God doesn't make mistakes, and I'm blessed to be here.
Amen. And you're fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Aaron Jones with the what ended up being the game-tying catch. Let's roll over to Jordan Addison, see what's going on. Jordan, how you doing, my man? It's I love watching you play, man. I mean, it's like we got the 162 and the 69 next to the sideline at Soldier Field. That was great. A little slow to go for everybody today, but when you did shake free, you made some big plays when they needed to be made. What'd you think of the game?
That's what we do. But, like you said, it was a kind of a slow start. I feel like the defense did a good job on third downs getting us off the field. But once we came back in, took a look at what they was doing, we came back out and executed.
Your quarterback, Sam Darnold, pushing through it like everybody else today, ended up being sacked 5 times. That's a season high. But like that overtime at Soldier Field when he went 6 of 6 and had the game of his career, he pushed through things late. How good was Sam late in that game?
No flinch from him ever. But, to me, what I'm starting to see, I feel like when we under pressure and, the game on the line, that's when Sam step up and play his best.
Okay, lastly, Jordan, so you guys win by a point. Arizona's a scrappy squad, offensively and defensively. You're at home for the first of 3 consecutive style points from 10-2. Does it matter to you guys if you eke out games like this or eke out games, say, against Jacksonville, teams like that? Or is it just a matter of finding a way to win, hopefully stay healthy and move forward?
Right. To me, I got that find a way to win mentality. At the end of the day, it's still the NFL. They fighting to be at the top of their division. And, every game going to be a game because it's the NFL.
You're terrific. Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you, sir.
That's Jordan Addison after a 1-point victory for the Minnesota Vikings over the Arizona Cardinals. Here's Brian O'Neill. That you knew it was going to be a meat grinder today. I mean, you got Jonathan Gannon, you got Robert Rodriguez, a couple of coaches for them. Their head coach, Jonathan Gannon, those guys from when you came into the league. They brought everything they had today, didn't they?
Yeah, for sure. They had a really good game plan in the first half. Caught us off guard a couple times on some third downs, and credit to our coaching staff at halftime. We were able to make some adjustments and maybe target things a little differently in the second half. But a lot of respect for those guys. Good team, really well coached. It was good to see some old friends, and even better to come out with a win.
I just chatted to Jordan Addison about this. You've been in the league longer. You're 10-2. You've won 5 in a row for a second consecutive time. Okay, Arizona's a middling type team. Jacksonville a below average team. The point being, some of these teams that you're barely getting by, does that matter? Or does it matter that you got to the winner's circle, you had your nose down on the finish line first, and you have 10 wins against 2 losses?
I think it matters that we're finding different ways to win football games. There hasn't been, one exact formula where it's either we do this or it doesn't go well. There's been a lot of different ways to win football games, and that's, a sign of the maturity of this team and the veterans we have. But a win's a win in the NFL. There's no pictures on the record book, or there's no videos at the end of the season with how it goes. So I think we got 5 more big ones, and then see where it goes.
Your 101st start today. That's fantastic. So congratulations on the excellent run this year. And here comes a friend of yours, your former teammate, Kirk Cousins, next week. That'll be a big talker, right?
I'm sure it will be for everybody else, but that doesn't really affect my job on 3rd and 7 as an offensive tackle. So we'll say our hellos in pregame and get on with it.
I appreciate you, Brian. Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right, thank you very much. Minnesota Vikings beat Arizona 23-22. I'm just going to walk with Kevin O'Connell because I stole one of your lines at the end of the game. The team needed to be its best when its best was required, so a lot of details coaches go through, but that's accurate, right?
Yeah, and that goes for our fans, too. We didn't give them a whole lot to cheer about all day, and they stuck with us and gave us a hell of an environment there late to make it hard on those guys. But proud of Sam, proud of our offense for working through it, and then ultimately finding whatever it took to get one more point than they had. A lot to go to work on, a lot to clean up, but glad to get to 10 here on December 1st. Pretty cool.
Congratulations, my man.
Thanks.
Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, following a 1-point victory over the Arizona Cardinals in a very dramatic fashion, trailing basically, 95-98% of the game. And Darnold finds Aaron Jones late. And they pull out a victory after Parker Romo hits the extra point, and they move into a game against the Atlanta Falcons. That's coming up next Sunday. Kirk Cousins coming back to U.S. Bank Stadium. And let's roll over here with this drive-by and Shaq Griffin, who had an interception, 2 on the season. I would imagine Kyler's tough to play. He'll throw those punts up like Byron Murphy Jr.'s former teammate got. Then you got one at the end, but that was just a meat grinder today.
Man, it was funny messing around with the guys. I said, if anybody asks, why we make these games so close, just tell them we do it on purpose, for the entertainment, for the fans. But something that we had to dial in on. We knew Kyler was gonna make some plays. We knew something was gonna go his way. But the main thing, what the message was, make the plays that count when it counts at the end. And I feel like we did that. We did things a little different. We ran a lot more man today, so we're trying to get that rush started. And towards the end, it started to get started with Grenard making that play. And once he did that, I think it kind of set everybody else up, to make the plays they need to make.
And Shaq, you say, we played a lot more man today, which means that, some of these games, your snaps have been down there 20, 25, whatever. And like an outsider like me, I got no idea why that's happening because I know you're very good. But you played a lot today, and Steph went down. Fabian had to come in. And Kyler's not the greatest down-the-field passer the NFL's ever seen. But with Marvin Harrison Jr. and this nice tight end, Trey McBride, holy cow, is he fast. It was a challenge today. You played a lot today, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, man. Definitely played a lot of snaps. Something that I was ready for. It's cool that, towards the beginning of the season, we always had that 3-man rotation between me, Byron Murphy and Gilly. So when it came to the point where, one person went down, it's nothing that we had to miss a beat on. Everybody was ready to step up. And I feel like Fabian did an awesome job for us to be able to come in and fill in and make the plays that he made today. Because a lot of them, plays that he did make, we definitely needed. That's somebody we definitely trust and we depend on. Played a lot of ball in this league. And it's a guy we can always depend on for the rest of the way.
Hey, last one, Shaq. Thank you for the time. Kind of a perfect win for a coach, right? I mean, because you get the money, you're 10-2, but they got plenty of things they can complain about during, like they ran for too much, I'm sure, and took too long for the offense to get going and everything. But when it comes to winning games, like the Detroit Lions, the team you're chasing, they're not recently, but they're rolling up 50 points, complete football, all that, and you guys see that. Does it matter to you that you start winning games by multiple scores against teams most people know you should beat, or is it just a matter of getting to the winner's circle at this stage of the season?
I feel like one thing it's hard to win, especially 10 games in this league. So I'll take that first, to get the W. I know there's a lot of teams that I feel like we're supposed to, score multiple times on, but, at the end, we do continue to learn how to finish games, even if it's tight. A couple of seconds left, so we got to go down and make a drive to score, or we got to stop a team from kicking the field goal. It's a lot of things that we continue to learn, going into, making this run. And I know when it comes to Detroit, making all these scores, I feel like we still got our best ball ahead. So the good thing is we only continue to go up. And at the end of the day, as long as we continue to find ways to win at the end of the game, it don't matter who we playing, we just got to continue to do that.
Shaq, one day, not today, but I'd love to talk to you about something I heard up to the Jacksonville game. You being a Florida native, that you're like starting a daycare there or something like that.
Yeah. Talk about that. Me and my fiance have been starting a daycare there, starting one in Houston, kind of moving around doing different things outside of football.
God bless you for that, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Shaq Griffin had one of 2 interceptions today. The other, Byron Murphy Jr. And let's wrap up these drive-bys. Coming over here talking to my man. You can go ahead and stay down. Andrew Van Ginkel. Tough to get sacks today. Maybe Kyler's tough to sack. He's only been sacked 20 times. But, I mean, when it was nearly all on the line, here comes 58. He starts it. Balls drop. There's 43 on top of Kyler Murray. It's like O'Connell says, right? Your best. Please give me your best when your best is required. Fair to say that's what you guys did today, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, that's when it starts, you want to start fast and have a good game up to that point, but the plays that really matter in the fourth quarter when, everything's on the line. And then you obviously need your best when your best is required. And, it takes everybody at that point, and you got to continue to build and just feed off one another, and someone's got to make the play.
10-2. Is this the most fun you've ever had as a pro?
Yeah, we got a great group. We got guys that are working their tail off, guys that love football, and we're just continuing to strive to get better. And this group of guys is tough, dependable. We love football, and Flo was getting us in the right positions to make plays, and it kind of took us to later in the game today to get a couple turnovers, and that's just what we strive off of.
Last one, Andrew. Have you chatted with Daniel Jones? Did you know him before he got here? Because, I'm thinking back to week number 1, and it was your first pick 6 wearing our colors. How do you handle that? Just joke about it and say, welcome to the covenant?
Yeah, I've never met him. Obviously when he got here the first day, we introduced ourselves, and, we briefly talked about it, and it's just something that we can, learn from, and something that he just wanted to pick my brain and kind of understand why I did what I did. And, that's what it is about being a pro. You have all these guys that see the game a different way, and whenever you communicate and try to, make each other better, that's what it's all about.
Well, congratulations on the victory. Sorry about your Badgers in the Axe game on Friday.
That's a tough one. And then obviously to lose, I think it was 21 or 22 straight years with going to a bowl game. So to have that knocked out is kind of devastating. But I have faith that they're going to get back on track, and props to Minnesota. They're a good team.
You're awesome, my brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank all of you for the drive-bys.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Kyler, though.
Cardinals 3 of 8 on 3rd down. This is 3rd and 5 from their own 45. Facing a blitz. Kyler steps up. Now he spins to the left, back to the right. Throws up one of those Kyler Murray punts. Yes, he did it again. Kyler Murray with those awful punt passes. Picked off by his former teammate, Byron Murphy Jr., who has 5 this season. Amen, brother.
Atlanta is next.
Leads to some play-action passes.
Algier the back, 1st and 10. And Cousins to the air. Intercepted. Picked off on the play by Still.
At one time, the Atlanta Falcons, a formidable foe from the NFC South.
Cousins. And intercepted. This could go all the way. It's gone. Still, you can kiss him goodbye. Touchdown. 62-yard return.
Oh, my God. Kirko, chill.
The first place team with a minus 34 points differential.
3rd and goal. Matthews the block. Cousins up the middle. Throws end zone. Intercepted. Intercepted by May. They just signed him this week.
And the return of Kirk Cousins. When he wore these colors, he threw for 23,265 regular season yards. Wow.
They're going to play show coverage.
L.A. called that timeout. 4th down and 12. And a throw by Cousins. Intercepted. Number 4 today. And Derwin James will seal the win for the Chargers.
Oh, my God. Kirko, chill.
Vikings, Falcons, Sunday at noon here on KFAN. That'll be super cool. And courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com, what's on deck 9 to noon includes Vikes Bites. They're next. The Analyst around 10 o'clock. The power forward is back from Florida. And on 9 to noon around 11 a.m. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. You're listening to 9 to noon on your home for 10 and 2 radio, FM 100.3, KFAN.
Vikes Bites.
Vikes Bites presented by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef. You can shop online and a box of meat will show up at your doorstep. You can also go to your local Coburns, your local co-ops locations. Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed.com. Clearwater, Minnesota company. We love you for it. Proud sponsors of your now Axe possessing Gopher football team and Gopher sports in general. Minnesota Vikings win 23-22. I'm going to start off with a question before I get to some numbers, PA. Justin Jefferson, 7 catches, 99 yards. Becomes like the 3rd or 4th player in NFL history, by the way, to have 1,000 receiving yards in 5 straight seasons to start his career, so we dig that. But just on the cusp of a triple-digit day, did you see anything yesterday that lent to the idea of, after weeks of coverage and the impossible nature that teams just stacked against number 18, begging us to take advantage?
Hey.
Gerbil, sorry.
With Justin, on the 4th and 5 late.
There we go.
I mean, we've seen this from Justin Jefferson myriad times. But, I mean, this was game on the line type stuff. And he was bracketed by 3 players.
Yeah.
So it's like on the final drive, I think Darnold was like 3 of 5, where he ended up hitting Aaron Jones for the game-tying touchdown. But when we talk about like Stephon Diggs or Adam Thielen or Amari Cooper or Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson, some of the great route-running receivers in the NFL, what they do is they fire off the line in a way you're 92.6% sure this is going to go deep. And then he stops. And he stopped in a spot between the 3 guys where Darnold had to get the ball out quickly, which he did, and he had to throw it at an angle where Justin couldn't be hit and have the ball jarred away from him. That's how high level Sam Darnold was playing in the 4th quarter, like overtime at Soldier Field. But with Justin, the acceptance of taking what is given to him for the betterment of the team, I think it's fully set in. And that 4th down connection where he completely fooled 2 of the 3 Cardinals. I mean, they were doing the moonwalk. They were dead set. My man's going straight down the field. Then he stopped. Stop, take a look and listen. And then he glistens with that 1st down catch, kept that drive alive, or the Vikings lose the game.
Right. And but to that end, did you see a stark change in how Justin was handled defensively? Or is it that because that's been the biggest talker. You got Jordan Addison going off a week ago, TJ Hawkinson, all those secondary options, while Justin Jefferson is being triple teamed in end zones. And then in this game, you kind of saw a pop. And in particular, once the Vikings, I mean, that Aaron Jones fumble, we'll get to that. But that kind of slowed the process down for O'Connell in terms of truly getting the offense moving in the first half. And so a lot of people were just kind of echoing, wow, it's mid-second quarter and Justin Jefferson hasn't had a target yet. Then you finally see a couple of catches in the second, and then we see things moving, and when he needed them on 4th down, he got them. I was just curious. I didn't necessarily see a stark change or something obvious in which Justin Jefferson was a ghost and suddenly now he's wide open on every play. But that game of we're going to take out your best guy, so feast with Jordan Addison. Beautiful touch pass to the boundary, an anticipatory throw from Sam to Addison yesterday as well. But I'm just curious if anything popped in your head that said, yeah, teams now kind of got to adjust back, because if we do this to Justin Jefferson, it's going to be Hawkinson, it's going to be Jordan Addison all day, and that's not good for us either.
Yeah, it's the Monday morning 9 to noon endeavor, and I started it a few weeks ago, where I will look at Sam Darnold's passes during the course of the radio show, and we'll kind of build it during the show as to what he's seeing, what Jefferson is receiving, how Arizona changed or did not change, and at first blush, nothing jumps out.
Vikes Bites! Thank you, Thousand Hills. And thank you, Zone Coverage. Nordo's numbers, zonecoverage.com, Bonus in the Bunch, and Tom. They put tons of terrific content together for the Purple. And I'm going to hit you with the number here. The number's 5. But first, let's celebrate Aaron Jones.
Naylor and Jefferson right, Addison left, Darnold out of the shotgun. 2nd and 2 from the Cardinals 5. Takes the snap, 4-man rush. Sam to the right, caught, and touchdown! He's showtime! And Aaron Jones saved his best for last. We're tied at 22.
It was kind of a moment of redemption in a couple of different ways yesterday. Johnny Munt getting that touchdown, an early catch and run that was kind of nice too after flubbing, coming in contact with the ball on the onside kick last week, and that false start that he had in the overtime drive at Chicago. He gets redemption. And then Aaron Jones, the number being 5, thank you, Zone Coverage, It's the number of fumbles that Aaron Jones has this year. And 3 of them have been lost. 4 fumbles in his last 3 games. What do you think of how Kevin O'Connell had to balance the idea of, okay, you fumbled it once, Brian O'Neill pounces on it, we like that. We hate the fumble, but we definitely appreciate Brian O'Neill instead of a 10th opening possession turnover in the last 29 games. But then later it gets punched out and it's a turnover and it's ugly and he gets benched for a bit. Ultimately, he comes back, gets the chance to redeem himself. How did you think he handled it, knowing that Jones is his A-topic back, but we also can't have a liability on the field? We have to kind of get in his head a little bit, pop him back into the mix. How'd you think Kevin O'Connell handled it with Aaron yesterday?
Okay, first, through Darnold's first 2 passes, Addison is getting doubled, and Justin got kind of 1.5 one time, and then he was open middle of the field. So we're 2 passes into that, to answer your earlier question. That's being your best when your best is required is something O'Connell has said 1,000,000 times since he got here, and that's what Aaron Jones provided yesterday. His best when his best was required to tie the game. Now, Kevin is you can't prognosticate, call games, or handle things like, hey, somebody might get injured if we do that later in the game. Somebody might fumble the ball for a 3rd time during the game.
Right.
Somebody might drop the wheel route. He's on the team because he's one of the better overall backs in the NFL. And the move that he made and then pedaled to the metal at the 15 to get loose on the wheel route that he dropped back right at the end zone, it's a tough catch first and foremost. But secondly, that was an example of Kevin being like, yeah, I was here for the fumble. Yeah, I was here for the lost fumble. And I was here when you sat on the sideline for 45 minutes of real lifetime. But I'm also here to put you back in to win the game. And it's instilling belief in those while they're struggling. That is an underrated facet of the term culture. They use a lot, and we use a lot around here. So his belief in Aaron Jones is unwavering.
And it kind of plays to his personality, right? If the way that you're going to talk about things, the way that you're going to handle things on a week-by-week basis, you talk about culture and those things, you need your best players in those spots. So you're right. You got to put them back in. You can't worry about a fumble.
Well, if you're Cam Akers, you want to play, but you recognize Aaron is the go-to back. So you absolutely need to do the very best you can at the most pressure-packed moments to validate why you're playing and why the other guy's on the sideline, because of a couple of fumbles and maybe not seeing it clearly on that chilly Sunday.
Cam had that nice 18-yard run. But one thing I do want to ask Pete about, and maybe you saw it, is there were some nasty sacks on 3rd down in the first half. Mm-hmm. And there were a couple of moments, Mack Wilson, I think, came completely untouched right up the middle 2 different times.
Yeah.
A couple of the sacks on the day, Cam was in there. I'm wondering if there were protection issues, maybe Cam, or I just want to find out how that happens in those spots.
Well, the point with Cam is your opportunities are going to be spotty. So when you're in a very big situation, if you don't come through, the spots become spottier. On the Johnny Munt touchdown, 55 for Arizona, had dead aim at Sam Darnold, dead aim at him. And Akers got over and went down to his thighs to knock him down, and he chopped him down. And if he doesn't do that, the Johnny Munt touchdown doesn't take place.
Vikes Bites! One more for you before we head to break. Stephon Gilmore, sounds like he tweaked a hammy. Worrisome as in the island of Fabian Moreau came into the mix yesterday, PA. There was one PI penalty on him that I thought was egregiously stupid and awful, and I can't believe the flag fell. But then there was that deep ball in which Fabian, I don't want to say he gave up per se, but he got beat, just grabbed him, fell to the ground. And I'm curious about how much depth we're going to be talking about this week in relation to the injury to Stephon Gilmore, if maybe a full week of practice, if there is a situation in which Moreau gets more reps throughout the week, does that impact things? It's just on a Monday celebrating a 10-2 team. That's one area I'm kind of thinking about is Fabian Moreau, the health of Stephon Gilmore, and what that looks like moving forward.
Shaq Griffin gave us a nice little tidbit into when he plays more than 20 some odd snaps and when he doesn't. And it ties to Gilmore. Steph had, he around the Green Bay game in the second half and some areas around there, he did win the game against the Jets at Tottenham Hotspur. But, there were some times where they were going to his side and it wasn't working out the right way. Stephon Gilmore is perhaps the best true corner on this team. Byron Murphy Jr. plays all over, inside in all the spots. Gilmore strictly outside. So it's tough for me to say that Gilmore's the best corner on the team with what Byron Murphy Jr. is doing. All right, reset 3-2. Steph is incredibly important in man defense at the line of scrimmage. So is Shaq Griffin. You can't play that style every down against every team. But when you're playing man-to-man defense, like Shaq Griffin told us, corners right up on the receivers, jam them up, believe the pass rush will get there, which mostly it didn't. But nevertheless, Gilmore's really good at that. Fabian Moreau is I remember when they got him, I was told he's a really good man-to-man cornerback. He's very physical. Now, I haven't watched back any of his plays, but if that's his calling card, first off a long layoff, I got to give him that one. And I also got to give credit to former Vikings coach Drew Petzing, who worked with quarterbacks and wide receivers here. He was here for like 6 or 7 years. He's really good. I mean, he's really, really good. And he went to Cleveland with Kevin Stefanski for a couple of years. And, if you're going to be part of the Stefanski tree, you're going to be smart and you're going to run the ball well. And they more than doubled the rushing yards against the Vikings average of 74.4 into the game. And it took Petzing all of 0.3 seconds to figure out that guy never plays, and we're going to go at him repeatedly.
Yeah.
And they went at him play after play after play after play after play. Mostly it worked. Fabian needed that one off the layoff. Hopefully Gilmore can play, but nevertheless, tough spot for Fabian.
Last bit for you, 30. Well, you can take however long you want on it. Was there something that impressed you about Jonathan Gannon, Petzing, Nick Rollis' group yesterday? I'm looking at this team, trying to figure out what I should love or don't love about Kyler Murray. Defense feels like they're overperforming in spots. I'm trying to figure out where all the talent is. I saw a fair amount of it yesterday. They run hard. I think Petzing's offensive mix is really in some ways at the mercy of Kyler, but I can see where he's going with it, and it works.
Yeah.
What impressed you about that group?
It's a very smart group. They've been without their first round pick, their second first round pick from this year, Darius Robinson. 8.5 sacks at Missouri, all SEC, a zillion tackles for loss over the last couple of years. He came back yesterday, didn't play many plays. He had a really good tackle on a run. So they've been down him. I think that only will help. But it's you can't fix everything at once covenant. I mean, they draft Paris Johnson with their first round pick a couple of years ago. He's played every game at left tackle. From what I understand, when engaged, he's really, really good, but maybe he's not always engaged. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a game changer. Trey McBride is one of the most underrated players in the National Football League I've seen in quite some time. Hey, he just doesn't get the credit that I think he deserves for how fast he is, and holy cow, is Trey McBride good. But the Arizona Cardinals have taken on the personality of their head coach. Jonathan's a tough-minded, no frills, no nonsense, black and white kind of guy. And that's what the Cardinals are. They've taken on the personality of their coach. Their offense mostly has taken on the personality of their scholarly coach. To be able to run the ball for 150 against that defense, even without Ivan Pace Jr., I never saw that coming. And with Rollis, he's young. He died in high school, go crazy. And the defense takes on the exuberant nature of their coach. And Gannon has a lot to do with the defense, but I was impressed with some things that the Arizona Cardinals offered yesterday. Those are Vikes Bites, and I'm Paul Allen. Big day for KFAN tomorrow. Toys for Tots, meet Takes for Tots. That's next on KFAN. KFAN's annual Toys for Tots Day is tomorrow at Shields in Eden Prairie. It's a home game for me and the con. And while we hope to secure tens of thousands of dollars in gives and toys for kiddos, 9 to noon is set to attack the day with takes for tots. We want to give tots takes on which one can chew. Now, these high-end takes for the tots means you can hit the lunchroom with elite sports takes as you ponder how boring that math class is going to be you have in an hour. Takes for tots would be good. It'd be good for even the super special exclusive athletes only cafeteria at the University of Minnesota too. You know, the one where Parker Fox dines and chats with Ollie Moore and Coy Parrish is on the chill, taking it all in. Regular students not permitted because they can't punt, pass, kick, shoot, or run full slappers. All right, 3-2. Toys for Tots tomorrow at Shields in Eden Prairie. And the Core 4 will be there from 5:30 until the conclusion of Bumper to Bumper. Takes for Tots, though. Take number 1. If basketball is an art, James Harden is Picasso. I attended the Wolves Friday night win against the Clip Joint and was just marveling at this man. It's not the first time I've seen him live, and you can pick up on so much more when you're there compared to on television. But 35 years of age, I'm just marveling at the man. I mean, he's still setting up those markedly younger with jab steps, shoulder shakes, and hesitation moves. James has been chided all his career for being selfish, hogging the ball, and not elevating the performances of others. He was on an Oklahoma City team with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and couldn't land the prize. Of course, those not in the know blame James Harden. It's the blame James game. I'm like, nah, I ain't having that. Watching this slow-rolling, meticulous, smart, instinctive gem unfurl his toil in person is something all sports fans should do before he's gone. James Naismith created a form of art, and James Harden is Picasso. Take for tot number 2. But the Minnesota Vikings absolutely can finish 5-2. I mean, of course they can because they still have 5 opportunities in front of them. But
15-2.
15-2. Thank you. All right, 3-2. All right, 15-2. Consider this. Atlanta has lost 3 in a row, and the quarterback might be broken. You already beat the Bears. Seattle is super professional and tough. What a tough team. And that's going to be a tricky one out in the Cappuccino capital. Ain't no doubt about that. Green Bay is good, but the Vikings are home and better. And the Lions, due to injury, seriously, they're down to 3s and 4s on their defensive depth chart in some spots. The Motor City Kitties are doing enough to win, but truly cannot sustain more injuries to their defense. Green Bay at Detroit on Thursday night. Takes for tots number 3, Thursday night. Do we want Detroit to win and dagger the dagger, making them 9-4, or do we root for the rival so the Vikings can beat Kirko Chains and pull into a tie atop the division?
Oh, my goodness.
Now, the Kitties beat the Vikings, so it'd be a tie, but technically tie goes to them because they beat the Minnesota Vikings. So Thursday night is going to get here in a hot tick. Do we pull for Detroit to dagger the dagger, or do we pull for the rival to the east to beat the Kitties like they did on Thanksgiving last year? And then the Vikings beat Chains, pull into a tie atop the division. What are we thinking about here, the con?
Well, this is a message to all the tots out there. Under no circumstances, and they live amongst you, and you see them on a day-to-day basis, and they come in and they're freshly kempt, fresh haircut they got at Sport Clips or Great Clips or wherever they went, and then they got their Jaden Reed jersey on, they got their Jordan Love jersey on.
Right.
I encourage you to be friends with them. I encourage you to coexist with them.
Fair.
But I do not encourage you to root for that team, because here's what's going to happen, tots, my friends, is you will root for the Kitties to dagger the dagger, and then you become a Buffalo Bills fan who are clowning on everyone right now. And then just for a moment, as tough as it's going to feel to do this, you're going to become a San Francisco 49ers fan. You're going to lament because you are still at the age where you love players and not teams. Your McCaffrey jersey may not get to be pulled out of the dresser anymore in 2024, but you are going to root for the Buffalo Bills and the San Francisco 49ers to do what the Packers will not do on Thursday night, setting you up for a regular season finale at Ford Field. The NFC North is on the line.
Well, you sold that very, very eloquently, very nicely. Another take for a tot could be the importance of executing after learning to turn the other cheek. Turning the other cheek would be to those who prefer the team to the east of the river. Now, if that team to the east of the river beats the division leaders and you pull into a tie, well, that puts you one step closer to never having to play a football game at Lincoln Financial Field for the rest of 2024 and the early stages of 2025. I just don't like it there. So perhaps nose plugging and cold showers are required. I think the latter is the right answer. Beat those kitties. But you sold the other side of the equation very beautifully.
See, I thought these were takes for tots.
Yeah.
I thought we were keeping it simple. Now you bring up Lincoln Financial.
That's a good point.
Full unopened beer cans being thrown from the upper deck.
F. Millie.
We got people eating horse poop on Broadway. They're greasing poles.
They got to grease the poles on Broad Street because these knucklehead rubes will climb up them and break lights.
Yeah, now I'm just confused. Sometimes, tots, it's important for dads and elders everywhere to say, there may not be a correct answer.
Yeah.
And there may be bitterness regardless of the result.
Babies get confused.
But in the end, regardless of said result, the Vikings will have a chance if they go 15-2 to hoist the NFC North banner.
Toys for Tots tomorrow at Shields in Eden Prairie. Please bring unwrapped toys to donate to a tot in need. The Analyst is next.